All glories to Shri Amrita Dhanvantari, the Supreme Divine Healers. So it's dark and it's loud. And we're in the age of Kali, the age of quarrel. So it is only natural that people quarrel. That has been predicted more than 5,000 years ago in the Bhagavad Purana. You can read it in the 11th canto. All the symptoms that we see today are there. Now, many of us have begun to follow a spiritual path, different traditions, sacred scriptures, holy teachers, enlightened masters, etc. Then there is the group of those who especially follow the Bhagavad Dharma, which is the duties according to the nature of the soul, or Jaiva Dharma, the eternal religion, which is pure love of God, which is the nature of the soul. But because we come from a very dysfunctional background in many cases, we have not learned to communicate in a peaceful way. We know from scripture that the cultivation of sattva guna is necessary to traverse into an understanding of the nirgun or transcendental dimension. There are many verses who explain that too. Now, many of us practice their sadhana, their spiritual disciplines, and think that this is not an important subject matter. The subject matter, of course, of communication, which this is the introduction to, meaning the internal, actually not internal, but also internal, more so the integral harmony communication. So there has been a lot of progress, many teachings on communication, primarily started by Marshall Rosenberg with his nonviolent communication, which he also would have liked to call peaceful communication. And then many followers or sequent teachers like empathic communication and bringing it to a new level, David Wolf or Dhira Govinda Prabhu, who developed the transformative communication, which is largely based on the nonviolent communication, but it adds some perspective of the gunas, etc., which will also be subject in our treatise. So, but even there, some points were missing, some very important points, which are partially also in the Vogopology, means the logic according to speech, or Vogos, the words, and other teachings, and especially the internal family systems as invented by Dr. I think Dr. Richard Schwartz, maybe he was doctor, I think so, and which I have also developed further into the integral family alignment, which I have also a manual on. But this is a very important aspect which needs to be included in the transformative integral communication, which is basically a way to traverse from the tamasic mode over the rajasic stages into the sattvic and transcendental communication, which are all necessary steps to understand and to respectfully traverse and also learn, because we have so many samskaras, impressions, if you want you can call it mental programs, automatic functions of communication, both internally and externally, which can also not really be separated, which are everything else but non-violent or peaceful. So if there is no peace, then love cannot really prosper. Be it material love or spiritual love, again we have to understand there is only one love, and it is either tainted with the different gunas, tamas, rajas, sattva, meaning lethargy or ignorance, passion or purity, virtue, and the transcendental gunas. So, if we have understood and recognized that there is some lack of peace within us and in our environment, and that peace is a necessity for developing love, then we can understand the necessity for the integral harmony communication, with the added speciality of understanding the psychology of the mental family system, the different parts of the psyche, how they interact with each other, and how to integrate that into our speech instead of talking always of I, from the different identifications that we have. It is much more helpful to talk about the different parts, and we will learn that in the subsequent transmissions on the subject matter. Right now I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes, which is a very unpleasant experience, even though I took some mosquito repellent, but they seem to be very thirsty right now. So thank you very much for tuning in, and looking forward to hear you soon in the second part of the introduction to the integral harmony communication. May the OM-Love be with us, may the peace be with you. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.